I've always believed that we were put here for a reason, that there is a path, somehow a divine plan for all of us and for each one of us. And I've also always believed that America was set apart in a special way, that it was put here between the oceans to be found by a certain kind of people based on a quality that these people had, but that they came from every corner of the world. And a country then was created by men and women who came not for gold, but mainly in search of God. They would be free people, living under the law with faith in their Maker and in their future. It's been written that the most sublime figure in American history was George Washington on his knees in the snow at Valley Forge. He personified a people who knew that it was not enough to depend on their own courage and goodness, that they must also seek help from God, their Father and Preserver. Where did we begin to lose sight of that noble beginning, of our conviction that standards of right and wrong do exist and must be lived up to? Do we really think that we can have it both ways? That God will protect us in a time of crisis, even as we turn away from Him in our day-to-day life? It's time to realize, I think, that we need God more than He needs us.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Jerusalem's Gates. I got a little personal message, short little video, and some of y'all are probably saying, "Oh my God, another personal video. That's the second one in the last 4 or 5." But I just wanted to be real quick and short. And you know, there's no secret that, and I preached this before, that our country has veered away from God. There's no way you can study the Bible and study what's going on in our country and the world and not know that our country has turned away from God. You know, I said this before, we kill 2,000 children a day in the abortion clinics. 2,000. With no end in sight. Actually, it's getting worse with the new legislation passed in New York, which allows late-term abortions. I mean, really late-term abortions. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And as you've seen the intro video, Ronald Reagan, I don't know if you picked up on the point where he said, where did we start losing sight? And, you know, I don't think you can pinpoint it. It wasn't a sudden shift from one day we were a nation under God, and the next day we were turned away from God. I think what the devil did is slowly started turning us against being one nation under God. I think it started with the study in the public school systems about how man was formed. Instead of creation, they started teaching evolution, and I think that's when it started turning about that time. Remind you, after World War II, what Tom Brokaw called it, and I agree with 100%, the greatest generation, the World War II generation that went out and fought in World War II. The women built military equipment for the men in the battlefields. And I mean, the nation just gelled together, and like the Japanese general said after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, he said, "We've just awoken a sleeping giant." And you know, the United States has always been a symbol of freedom and democracy and one nation under God. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have your right to worship whoever you want to worship. But you have to understand that our forefathers, when they came here, and our forefathers that wrote the Constitution, they wrote it with us meaning the United States of America, because we are all that's watching from the United States, and I know people all over the world watch. But we were formed as a Christian nation, and we're starting to teach our children that no, we're not a Christian nation. We're a nation of many religions. We're a nation of many religions. And I disagree with that. And I know some people may disagree with me disagreeing with that, if that makes sense or not. But we were built as one nation under God by our forefathers being a Christian nation. And when World War II came to a close and we helped free the Jewish, God's chosen people in the concentration camps, and we overcame the Nazi regime, and we overcame the Japanese starting the war with us, and the dollar became the currency of the world, and our products started being sold all throughout the world, and our economy just skyrocketed, and bills were passed to help out the GIs that went to war, and the housing market just skyrocketed, and industry just skyrocketed, and we became, God entrusted us to be the leaders of the world and to protect human rights in the world. He gave us that right to be protectors of human rights. Now, you could argue when it started. Technically, legally, on paper, it started at the 9/11 where we started, there's no way other to put it, torture. Some people call it interrogation. Some people call it, they had their politically correct names for it, like anything. But we started veering away and started dabbling in human rights violations, and we had Roe versus Wade, and we started protecting evil more than good. We took God out of the schools. We took him out of the government. And you wonder why we're having all these problems. Well, United States, and I'll say this until they put me 6 feet under. The United States has been giving warnings in the supernatural realm with signs and wonders that is warning us exactly what happened to the Israelites when they turned away from God. And God sent prophets. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, don't get me wrong. But I think one of my job that God entrusts me with is, and I'm no better than anybody else, I can assure you, is to warn my country that it's headed the same way that God's ordained country headed on a couple occasions, and God took the kingdom away from them and let a more evil, I should say, country take over Israel. And God in the Bible, God has done that. God has selected a more evil country to take over the kingdom of Israel, because the kingdom of Israel has turned away from God. So if God did that to his ordained country, Israel, in the Bible, what makes you think that he wouldn't do it to the United States of America? See, that's what we have to realize. God sent prophets to Israel to warn them that they turned away from God. They didn't listen to the prophets. They persecuted them and done very bad things to them. They didn't heed. And God is sending signs and wonders today to warn the United States of America that they are going to be in a realignment of superpowers if we do not turn back to God and remember that we're one nation under God. And what I'm fixing to say, I hope it doesn't offend anybody, but I'm just speaking the truth. It doesn't say one nation under Allah, one nation under Buddha. It says one nation under God. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm absolutely pleading, let's turn back to God. As a group, as a nation, black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, Vietnamese, the list goes on and on. Let's join together. There's a reason why we all bleed the same color. We are all, if people realize that we're all related, going back to Noah's family, And then going back to Adam and Eve, we're all related. Some of us has darker pigmentation. Some others have lighter pigmentation. Some of us has a yellow tint. Some of us has a red tint. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to spoil the party on any racism, but we're all related. See, that's what I don't understand about racism, is that we're all related. We're all brothers and sisters. If you think about it, going back again to Noah and going back to Adam and Eve. So I don't understand racism. I just don't understand it. Call me ignorant. It doesn't register in my mind when you read the Bible and it tells you that we're all related. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is my plea, another plea to my country to please turn back to God. Vote in officials that will pass legislation that would be pro-Christian, and I'm telling you, if we turn away from, if we turn back to God, God in prayer has told me many times that He will personally go fight our enemies Himself. How would you like God going to fight the enemies Himself? That would be pretty. You know that victory would be won. Well, that's my short message for today. I hope you enjoyed the intro with Ronald Reagan. Again, I hope you picked up on the part where he says, "Where do we lose sight?" Talking about where do we lose sight and started turning away from God. On a different note, some people are not getting. A lot of people are not getting notifications when video is uploaded. If you are interested in Jerusalem's Gate, we pray you are. Now again, we don't make a red cent off the channel, not one red cent. It costs us money to make videos and post them on the channel. But I ask you to click the notification bell where you would get a notification that a video has been uploaded. That's if you're interested in Jerusalem Gate, and we pray that you are. With that said, I'll go ahead and close. We'll see you on the next broadcast. God bless you, and we love you.